This ball python just laid a clutch of eggs.
The first thing I do is gently remove the mother so I could collect the eggs.
And since snake eggs shouldn't be rotated during incubation, I mark the tops of all the eggs, so I always know which way is up. After marking and collecting the eggs, I transfer them to an egg box. The egg box is designed to maintain a high level of humidity, which is critical to successfully hatch the eggs. And then I'll put them in my incubator. After I take care of the eggs, I'll then take care of the mother. She stopped eating months ago when she became gravid, or pregnant. And if I left her to incubate her own eggs, she probably wouldn't eat for another 2 months. Giving her a warm soak not only lets her take a nice drink to rehydrate, but it also gets that egg smell off of her, which in turn will get her eating normally again. And she really needs to start eating. Before she became gravid, she weighed 1,600 grams. And now she's down to 1,092 grams.
So we have to get her back up to a healthy weight.
These ball python eggs are on day 2 of incubation, and today we're going to candle them.
When candling, the main thing I'm looking for is the presence of veins inside of the egg.
So you can see here that these two have nice strong veins. And this one here, there's no veins in this egg. So this egg is infertile. But let's check the rest of the eggs. This one looks good, this one looks good, and this one looks good. Let's take one more look at that infertile egg, because sometimes they have small veins that are hard to see. I still don't see any veins, so I think this one is infertile, which means there's no baby snake growing inside. It's unfortunate, but I would rather have an infertile egg right from the start than a fertile egg go bad.
So we have a total of 5 fertile eggs and 1 infertile egg.
Now this clutch does have the potential to create some blue-eyed Lucies, which I know many of you love. So I'll be sure to take good care of these eggs and keep you guys updated. And in about 55 to 60 days, we should have some new baby snakes. And don't forget to get your copy of my new children's book, What's in Dr. Serpenstine's Lab. Today I made my biggest mistake of the season. These ball python eggs are on day 29 of incubation.
And I noticed one of the eggs started to grow a little bit of mold.
I cleaned off the mold and then I treated the egg with some antifungal powder to prevent any more mold from growing. After treating the egg, I decided to candle it and saw that it had no veins, so the egg is not fertile. So to prevent it from continuing to grow mold, I decided to remove it from the clutch. One of my own rules is to not separate the eggs unless it's absolutely necessary.
So I broke one of my own rules and now I'm paying for it.
When I separated the eggs, one of the good eggs got a little hole in it, and now it's leaking. I quick made a mixture of Elmer's glue and antifungal powder, and I attempted to patch up the hole. What made the situation worse is the hole is on the bottom of the egg, which makes it much more difficult to stop the leak. The initial patch job slowed it down, but didn't stop it. I added a small piece of paper towel to give the glue something to stick to, and then I added a few more layers of glue.
I am very disappointed with myself, and I'm not sure that this egg is going to make it another 25 days.
These ball python eggs are on day 35 of incubation. Since the inside of the egg was prematurely exposed to the outside world, I'm afraid that the whole egg is going to go bad. At this point, there's really not much more I could do. I decided to candle them to check up on the eggs and see if I could see any issues developing. These eggs are a little bit more than halfway through incubation, and I don't see anything strange or unusual going on inside. I don't want to count my snakes before they hatch, but right now I think they're looking pretty good. We'll know for sure in about 20 days when they start hatching. These ball python eggs are just a few days away from hatching.
You can see that these eggs are significantly denting in, which is common right before they hatch.
This is what they looked like about 2 weeks ago. I removed one of the eggs because it was developing some mold, and I accidentally put a hole in one of the good eggs. I made a mixture of glue and antifungal powder to patch up the hole. It wasn't the best solution for the problem, but it's what I had on hand.
I've seen this happen to other breeders in the past, and there's a few different things that could happen.
The snake could pass away or be born with some sort of deformity. The snake may hatch out healthy, but just be on the small side. Or, and what we're hoping for, is that the snake hatches out normal and perfectly healthy. In order to patch up that hole, these eggs were also out of the incubator for about 10 minutes, which can also impact the health of the eggs. As you can see here, the patch worked and stopped the egg from leaking, and I don't see any mold developing, which is a really good sign. So now we're on day 52 of incubation, and the eggshells are really thinning out and the eggs are significantly denting in.
So any day now we'll find out how these eggs turned out.
These ball python eggs are on day 58 of incubation and they're starting to hatch.
And I'm really excited to see that the first one is a blue-eyed Lucy, which is an all-white snake with blue eyes.
But this little one is still a little shy and isn't ready for a close-up yet. I don't see any pips in this egg. A pip is when a snake uses its egg tooth to slice open the egg when it's ready to hatch. The snake already pipped, but let's open the egg up a little bit wider so we could see what's inside. And this little one looks like it's gonna be a beautiful snake. It's definitely a banana, maybe a banana Mojave. We'll have to see when it crawls out of the egg. Once I opened up the egg a little bit wider, he decided to pop his head out to see what was going on.
I have a feeling that this little one is going to have a very outgoing personality.
Let's open the Blue-Eyed Lucy's egg up a little bit so we could get a closer look at it. I have to stay focused and cut very carefully so I don't harm the snake. I like to cut a little bit wider of an opening in the egg so I could see what's going on inside, but I let the snake crawl out when it's ready.
We have 3 more eggs that haven't pipped yet, including that leaky egg, so I'm going to get them back in the incubator and I'll update you tomorrow.
These ball python eggs are on day 59 of incubation.
And all of them pipped, so let's get a closer look.
This one was right next to the leaky egg. I'm going to make a wider opening in the egg so I could check up on the snake to see if there's any issues. I cut open the egg very slowly and carefully to ensure that I don't harm the snake. When I opened the egg, you could see a line of red. This is not an injury to the snake, it's actually a vein that's attached to the inside of the eggshell. And at this point, the snake is fully developed, so it doesn't need those veins any longer. Now this was our leaky egg, and I'm hoping that everything turned out alright.
It pipped on its own and on time, which is a real good sign.
And it looks like it might be a Savannah banana, which is a mixture of the Mojave banana and pastel genes. It doesn't look abnormally small or appear to have any major issues. When I opened the egg a little more, I could see that the snake hasn't absorbed all of its yolk. So what we could see here is the snake's yolk stalk, which is equivalent to an umbilical cord attached to the yolk sac. The snake will likely sit in the egg for a little bit longer and finish absorbing the rest of that yolk from the yolk sac. This is the banana that pipped yesterday and he's still inside the egg, which is not uncommon. He looks healthy and he'll crawl out when he's ready. This little one is another banana and he used his egg tooth to slice up that egg real good.
I think this might be the most bananas I ever got in one clutch.
The pairing was a Savannah banana to a Mojave, and we ended up with 4 banana combinations and 1 beautiful blue-eyed leucistic, which is a super Mojave, so it'll likely have that little bit of purple on its head. I'm gonna get these guys back in the incubator and hopefully tomorrow they start crawling out. These ball python eggs are on day 60 of incubation and the first 2 are out of their egg.
This is the leaky egg clutch.
These 2 snakes were also the first 2 to pip, so they sat in their eggs for about a day and a half or so before they decided to crawl out. And it looks like we have a blue-eyed Lucy and a banana. More importantly, they both look happy and healthy. Now that they're out of their eggs, let's get them cleaned up. To do this, I simply run the snake under some warm water. This will rinse off any of the substrate that they got stuck on them while they were in the egg box.
And it'll remove any of the dried up egg slime that's on them,
which will help prepare them for their next big step, their first shed. So I'll transfer these 2 into this tub with a damp paper towel. The damp paper towel will ensure that the humidity stays nice and high, which is critical for the snakes to shed properly. At this point, it should take about 7 to 10 days for these snakes to have their first shed. The next thing we'll do is remove their empty eggs from the egg box.
Now that the first 2 snakes are out, the other 3 should be following very shortly.
So I'll get these little ones back in the incubator and I'll update you soon. These ball python eggs are on day 61 of incubation.
This is the leaky egg clutch.
And it took a day or so, but now all of the snakes are out of their eggs. Aside from the 1 blue-eyed Lucy, all the snakes in this clutch turned out to be a banana combination, which is really good odds.
It also means that all of those banana morphs are likely males,
because the banana gene is tied to a chromosome that determines whether the snake is male or female. So because the father of this clutch was a banana male maker, all of his banana offsprings are going to be male, including this little amazing guy that you all named Leaky. Now that they're all out of the egg, we're gonna get them cleaned up and rinse off all of that egg box substrate. When I rinse them off, I ensure the water temperature is about 85 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about 29 to 30 degrees Celsius. Once they're all washed up, I'll put them in a clean tub with their clutch, and I'll just use a damp paper towel as a substrate. This will keep the humidity nice and high to give them that perfect first shed.
So in about a week, they'll have their first shed, and then we'll offer them their first meal.
These ball pythons crawled out of their eggs 6 days ago.
And they are looking incredible because they just had their first shed.
This is the one and only blue-eyed Lucy from this clutch. And this is the snake that you all named Leaky. And he looks amazing. Those yellows and oranges on top of that purple background makes him look absolutely electric. Here you can see how bright his colors are compared to some of his clutch mates. This beautiful little guy is a banana Mojave. I always like this combination because I like those gray purplish colors mixed with the brighter yellows. And it looks like this little one has the same genetic makeup as Leaky. His colors don't pop as as much, but he is still a stunning snake. And this last one is another amazing looking banana Mojave.
I'm really happy with the way this clutch turned out. Bananas and blue-eyed Lucy's always catch my eye.
And 4 out of the 5 snakes in this clutch were bananas, and the last one was a blue-eyed Lucy. So for me, this clutch was near perfect odds. Here's a side-by-side look at the entire clutch. Now that the snakes shed, I'm going to separate them into their own enclosures and offer them their first meal.